Hey, Lee Wolf here, and welcome to Gameface Monday. We are live. Hope everyone had a great weekend, and thank you for tuning in and listening and watching. As always, Mr. Richie Bello has me sitting by his side. How you doing, Richie?
Great, man. How are you today?
Awesome. Feeling good. Feeling really good. Best I've been in a while. And we also have a special guest today, Kevaris Edgecomb. I'm smiling because I've been pronouncing his name wrong for a month, so I feel good about that. But it's Kevaris Edgecomb, coach and CEO of Volt Visionary Enterprises, and he's going to be here today to talk about people's credit and how you can fix your credit and how he can help, how Volt can help. How you doing, Kevaris?
Great, man. Pleasure to have. Thank you guys for having me on this platform.
Yeah, thanks for being here, and I'll never
Thank
pronounce
you for
your name
being
wrong.
here.
But before we get rolling on the show, just going to check in with Shop Smart Autos with a quick message on our SSA VIN retention report. Before you spend another dime on marketing and advertising, inspect what you expect. The SSA VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos is the answer. Do you know your retention status? You might be losing hundreds of customers a month, but what if you could keep just a few more? Each retained customer means thousands in revenue, adding up to millions per year. The SSA VIN retention report is the inspection tool you've been looking for. Find out what you're missing before it costs you. All right. So that's the SSA VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos. Every dealership in this country should be taking a look at it. It's the most powerful tool out there for dealerships. And it's Shop Smart Autos, 4dealers.com. So Kevaris, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from and how you ended up with Volt.
Oh, wow. Great. So growing up in a household with a single parent, no father figure, mother raised 3 boys on her own, growing up in poverty-stricken environments, and just watching my grandparents, work hard, blue collar. I come from a blue collar, hardworking family. I'm the only one that I know got probably some screws not tied up in my head. So I'm the only one that went against the quota of I'm not going the American dream route. Doesn't make sense. I don't want to work for no one. I want to be my own boss, and kind of just went that way, made some mistakes and immature decisions as a young teenage who haven't steered down the wrong road that ended me up in federal prison for 15 years for a nonviolent drug offense, right? I started financial literacy while incarcerated, so it was a gift and a curse going to prison. Just didn't deserve 15 years again for a first-time offender. But just say, for instance, if I was walking a prison yard with a guy like you, Lee Wolf, and we're here for the same thing, and I walk in a prison yard with a guy like Richie that's in here for totally something different. So if I say, hey, Lee, how you doing? Where you from? I'm from New York. I'm from Florida. What are you in here for? A drug offense? I don't want to talk to you. We're here for the same thing. I feel like I'm the best at what I did. Hey, Richard, how you doing? Where you from? I'm from New York. What are you in here for? In Belgium, man, or something like that. Oh, yeah, wow. What do you do on the streets? I ran an oil company. I'm going to be Richie's best friend because I want to learn something. So that's how I kind of embarked on this journey of financial literacy, picking different mentors in prison and combine it all in one. And that's how, I came home and started Volt Visionary Enterprises.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. And I actually have a family member that literally said almost the same exact thing that you just said to us. So, and came out with the brain of an entrepreneur. So pretty cool.
Because I took my time to feed my brain opposed to feed my muscles, what most guys do when they go to prison. Oh, get in shape and cool, kudos to you. However, I knew coming from a former lifestyle of selling drugs, being accustomed to a certain amount of money and coming home, you can't sell me with a McDonald's, Burger King, or a plumbing job. It wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So entrepreneurship was the only route. And I was just like, what can I do that's going to yield me the same type of money that I'm used to having without causing me subjecting myself to be back in prison? Mm-hmm. So entrepreneurship and real estate, credit, and all these things just started popping up.
Awesome. And so the numbers, I don't know if you see different numbers than we do, but the basic idea that we see is about at least 28% of Americans are needing help right now with their credit, and they're below 700. Good credit score for people that want to get a mortgage. What kind of a range should they be falling in?
For a mortgage, you don't have to have tier one. It's in the credit world, it's tiers. So you got tier 1 credit, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is typically 720 to 850. Tier 2 is typically 630 to 680, right? And anything under 620 is tier 3, and you're done. So to get a mortgage, basically the average the average score is like 635. Hey, you got a 635, but it's not fixated on the credit score. When most people are like, oh, all I need is a 635. You can have a 635 profile with absolutely nothing on there, and it's not going to get you qualified.
Gotcha.
Or you can have a 630 credit profile with history that subject you to getting that mortgage loan. That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, when I was in refi, I noticed a lot that I wouldn't get approvals for people that had one credit card and a 770 credit score. I still wasn't getting them the rates, but people that were pounded with bills, but they were paying them on time. Same in that window, I noticed that we would get approvals a lot faster.
Head on. Yeah. So even in this industry I'm in, my whole objective or motive to get someone credit fits just with the sole purpose of getting them funded, right? Because I'm money with funding, not so much credit. Credit is not the sexiest job in the world. But I've met so many clients, oh, why haven't I gotten funding, or why I got denied for this application and I got a 700 credit score? I'm like, you got a 700 credit score because, one, you're only 18, 19 years of age. Two, only thing on your report, on your credit report, is student loans.
Right.
So 1 or 2 student loan accounts gives you a 700 credit score, and we're not fixated on credit score over here. We're fixated on a credit profile. So you have a non-fundable profile and a fundable profile.
Okay.
And I think we just kind of elaborated on that. So if Richie got a 650 credit score and he just getting out of high school, and Lee, you got a 650 credit score, but you've been working for 5 years and you got 5, 6 accounts, then you have a fundable profile and he has a non-fundable profile, but you guys both share the same credit score. Okay.
And now, Richie, especially in how much you work with our veterans across the nation here, they're always looking for funding solutions, but they need credit help as well, right?
Well, yes, and that's the whole thing. Like we're working with a few deals. One veteran has very limited credit, right? Only because he's got so much credit out that his revolving credit he's maxed out, right? He's got a business, got a construction business, really, really good guy. And he really needs this credit to scale his business. And what's good about it, it's like the father-in-law, the father, a lot of people have helped him, but you know how it is in a business. As far as revenue is there, business is more about cash flow, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have revenue, but sometimes you got cash flow problems,
Right.
And I got a little bit of experience in that, with the cash flow situation. But you got the revenue, but the cash flow could be like a real problem. Mm-hmm. And that's where he comes in. He does the funding and the credit, because us entrepreneurs, we get involved sometimes in too many businesses because either the greed factor or I don't know what the hell it is, but and cash flow is king. Cash is not king anymore. What is king is cash flow, because if you have a good cash flow, then you don't have a problem, and cash flow is a problem. And a lot of these businesses that are big business, I consider any business 3 million could be a small business. It's kind of small. These businesses that hit their $3 million, they have a cash flow problem. Why is that? Because it's like a spring and summer and fall. Come the winter, they have to keep that same staff. They have to keep that same thing. So it's not enough money to cover that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So then they reach out for funding options.
Right. So they reach out for funding options, but in that process, they're not clean as much as they can, because understand, anybody that has problems with money, and I'm pretty sure Kevaris talked about that, and he thought about this. Anybody that has money issues, business, is going to have credit problems. That's just a thing that goes together. Well, why is that? Why does that go together? Oh, because they're jammed up with cash flow, so your credit hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're pulling money from here, you're pulling money from there, you're pulling money from everywhere, which is not really a good solution for a business owner. Oh, a good solution is come to us, we turn you on to our guy here. He does funding and credit repair. So let him fix it instead of you keep hammering your credit, protect your credit. And then if you keep needing money, that's okay. You settle and you get the next one and the next one. The worst solution for a business owner is him not to speak and not to let anybody know and try to get money from here, from this credit card, from that credit card. They'll come up with it, but what are you doing? You're killing your credit scores because your revolving credit is taking you out.
Right.
You know, thinking about you got a problem, call a professional. Yeah. That's the problem. The problem with marketing, the problem with funding, the problem with that is that people that are entrepreneur think because they're good in what they do, they're going to be good in everything. That's not necessarily the case. That's when you go reach out and hire a professional like Kevaris, right? You hire him. Why do you want him as a professional? Because he's got the funding. He's a coach, great coach. He's got the funding. And he's got the credit solution. He's talked to a few of our clients and have really, really put that out there. Done. And just to let everybody knows that my podcast is not a paid podcast. There's no sponsorship, no nothing. My podcast is solutions that we see. Either they're partners of ours or they're solutions that we know they're going to help. Not like he's doing an ad just to go on here. That's not true. What it is this podcast is a non-paid podcast. The only person that we do a sponsor ad for is my own company, our own company, Shop Smart Autos. That's it. So we bring people that have real solutions to help dealerships, veterans, and business owners.
And Kevaris, did you have something to add there?
Yeah, I just wanted to pivot off what Mr. Bello said. Like to call him AKA Richie Rich. So I'm passionate about what I do for two reasons. One, the main reason is the businesses that are able to create or the services that I offer is not a want service. It's a need-based service. You don't want your credit fixed. You need it fixed. Mm-hmm. You don't want working capital. You need working capital because it's frowned upon for you to work, save, and then say, hey, I'm going to go investing with Richie in this business with the car lot, or I'm going to go buy some property. And then it backfires. You want to pretty much shoot yourself in the head because you don't put all of your hard-earned savings into a project. So it's a necessity-based business services that we offer, right? So a client comes with a problem, we have a solution. Once we rectify that solution, it derives another problem. So it's like a spinning wheel, and every time a problem comes, we have a solution.
Right.
So it's one client could be a lifetime client, opposed to a customer that buys a Snicker bar, walks out the store, you never see them again.
Right. Unless it was a good Snicker.
Yeah. So pretty much cliche. Snickers are the same, just like McDonald's are the same.
Yeah. So someone comes to you, let's say, with 610 score. They've got issues riddled on their credit report. I know you guys actually take a very close look at the credit report, make sure that there are real charges on there or real products that are on there that are supposed to be on there. You argue the ones that aren't supposed to be on there. You start cleaning things up. Everyone wants results immediately. And that's what I think. Anyone that walks in, they think you're going to sit down with them on Monday, and next Monday,
their credit will be fixed.
Their credit it jumped 30 points. What are like the thought processes in general and broad strokes on how credit grows?
I like to give this analogy right here. So if you had an 850 credit score, which is exceptional, top of the top, king of the crops, right? And you decide to become negligent in your accounts. So from an 850, it's gonna roughly take you about 4 to 6 months, pardon my French, to jack that credit off, to screw it up.
Okay.
Right? It's not gonna happen overnight. Oh, you made one late payment and you go from 850 to a 500. No, it's gonna take you some time to jack that credit off. So I tell my clients all the time, hey, I'm not doing no Instagram hack. This is not an overnight fix. I don't have a magic wand to wave over your credit. So just as long as it took for you to jack your credit off, give me that opportunity traditionally, organically, to get your credit back in shape.
Right. Yeah, because I notice if I add, 8,000, I get a credit card because I have to do a repair on the house. I grab an interest-free credit card, so I have 15 months. I throw it all on there. I notice my credit takes a 7-point hit or a 12-point hit. It's not like I took on $8,000 and now I went from 750 down to 610 and my life is ruined. Yeah. Yeah. And the other way is the same. I make those payments and I meet my bills every month and I stay on top of things and I see you gain 2 points. You gain 2 points. You get, yeah.
So just like Richie saying, when people need funding for their business and they don't seek it the right way, so they use their personal, say, well, you know what, let me use my Chase Bank of America card. It's detrimental because you're bringing down your utilization. Your UTI is high. So if you look at the credit pie, 1 is payment, 35%. 2 is payment history. So if you using a lot of your credit on your personal side, it's going to be detrimental for you because it's going to drag that credit down and it make you look like you're desperate.
Right.
And that's the danger. So the beauty about getting yourself business funding while your personal credit is intact, that way you separate your personal from your business. And then you get the working capital you deserve in order to expand.
Gotcha.
And you have to be very careful when you, as an entrepreneur, because we've always done it, you got to be very careful when you got to get money and you start pulling it from here, there, and all that stuff, you got problems, you know what I mean? You got problem from a lot of perspective. And Lee, one of our friends that's about to get funded, when he did the accounting part, he had 8 different companies, streamed in money from every single company. So what happened now? He's out there, got to get a loan for $2 million because the company that's giving him this money can't even give it to him because it appears like you're laundering money. There's big companies out there that buy stuff and they have to make sure that it's legit.
Yeah.
So when you have a financial statement with 8 different types of companies that have given you money, people start with red flags, right? So you got to use your noodle. You got to think of tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
It's an immediate Band-Aid here, but by you reaching out to a coach like Kevaris, you can really get things figured out. I have this problem. I have to come up with $50,000. I have the money on my credit cards. Kevaris, what do you think I should do? Then he'll give you a coach thing, and then he'll tell you because that's what he does.
Yeah, mentorship.
Right. Even though I am a business person, an entrepreneur, I might not be good at that. Just not. So I'll reach out to him and say, here's what I got, but my credit's going to get hurt a little bit. What should I do? Maybe he'll come up with a solution that you don't have to take it from your credit and he can add you and get you a loan and you're going to pay it. And then that's going to increase your credit.
Right.
Instead of depleting your credit.
Yeah.
So
the beauty about
that a coach can find, we can't. As entrepreneurs.
Yeah, the beauty about what you just said, and you dead on with it, you head on with it. So if we got a client that has a business and they need working capital, they have never gotten this business funded, but they have assets on the personal side, like you said, $50K. and they come to us and say, hey, what should I do? I would tell you to leave your 50K at peace. Let me get this business funded for 2 reasons. One, once you get funded, it does not show on your personal. So 2, is practice to abuse, so to say, your business funding. So if you got $20,000 on a Chase business card at 0% interest, it's wise for you to take the whole 20K off, liquidate it, make a play, a cash flowing investment, because you have a year to play with this money at 0% interest. Now, if you use $20,000 on a personal side, it's going to drag your credit down because you're actually getting punished for using money on a personal, and on a business, you're actually getting rewarded for using the money, if it makes sense.
Yes. So
you got 2 of the same counts, $20,000 on a personal, $20,000 on a business. If you abuse the $20,000 over here, it's going to bring your credit down. If you abuse it over here, they actually saying, hey, you're investing into your business. We just hope the return come back. And utilization doesn't affect you at all. It doesn't show on your personal unless you default.
Awesome. All right, we're going to break away for 1 minute with a retention minute from JP over at Vinsight.
Hey guys, JP Burkemper with Vinsight. Most dealers spend all their energy on the sale, closing the deal, moving the unit, hitting the monthly numbers. But what happens after that? Too often the customer drives off the lot and never comes back. That's a problem, because if you're only focused on the sale, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table over the lifetime of that customer. Think about it: service, appointments, accessories, F&I products, trade-ins, repeat purchases. Now, a single customer isn't just worth one sale. They're worth multiple over the lifetime of that customer journey. The best dealers are the ones that have the mindset: how do I sell this car? But also, how can I keep them as a customer for as long as possible? This means consistent follow-up, personalized offers, and making sure every interaction after the sale is just as intentional as the ones before it. See, retention is not just a department, it's a culture. And the dealerships that get that right aren't just selling cars, they're building loyal customers every day. So, are you treating your buyers like transactions, or are you turning them into loyal customers who don't have the choice of going anywhere else? Because with Vinsight, you sell them and we keep them coming back.
Yeah, so that was retention.
The best thing about that music, that video, is that music, if you are like a little bit unfocused, you are like a little bit sleepy,
it brings you back.
That music motivates you, that makes you want, your blood pressure goes up automatically.
Yeah. Or
you have somebody with low blood pressure, just put that music on. I don't know what kind of music that is, but that music pumps you up.
Yeah, I dropped the volume on it and it's still pretty loud. And what he was talking about there, about these relationships, and as Kevaris said, are we selling Snickers bars or are we selling, long-term relationships? And
wow,
retention, man, retention. You see, I'm already pulling from you.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to send
me wholeheartedly in that, almost like a funnel.
Yeah,
your client come in, whether you want to buy a high ticket or not, you walk away buying something.
Yeah.
But my funnel is not so much if you purchasing a product. It's you have a problem, we have the solution.
Correct.
Simple as that. It's a one-stop shop when it comes to financial literacy. As far as if you got credit issues, let us rectify it. If you need working capital for your business, let us get you the capital at no upfront cost.
Right.
10% on the back end. Show the value that we can provide you guys. Get your money. Pay us 10% on the back end. And third, what most people I don't see on the internet too often, everybody do credit, everybody say they do funding. How many people are going to take you from step 1, 2, and 3 and say, hey, now that I got you the capital, although you got a construction business or a car business, fine and dandy, let us park this money right here, a safe investment that's going to cash flow you and make sure you're able to service that debt that you just took on. So we got the credit, funding, and also Kendra's being a credit realtor. We could park the money in real estate, and you got a tangible asset. That's actually the way we do our real estate is we're not so much sold on how much the property costs. We will buy the property with the equity that's built into it. So we're walking into a deal that makes sense.
Right. That's great.
So most people are like, oh no, that house costs too much, or this shopping plaza costs too much. It might be a little high on the price. How much equity is in this property?
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And that's how you walk into a deal, get the equity, take it out, service your debt. And people don't understand about funding. They think it's I need some money to get my business running. How much you need? 100,000, 150,000. Cool, we can do that. The process can be perpetuated twice a year. So if we can get you $250,000 within 90 days and you service that debt, we go right back in and get you $250,000 or more in a single calendar year.
And that's great that he's able to do that because he's driven by solutions. You're not calling a credit company, you're calling a coach that owns a credit company and a funding company. So he's going to come up with, first of all, let's take a dive in. Why did your credit go bad? Is it because of lack of income? Do you need to get more money? What happens if you get more money in your business? Is that going to make you a better ROI? Right? So he's got both things that he can be an entrepreneur coach to those companies that are past the startup phase, right? And are getting the revenue. Got to be very careful with that because when you get the revenue, you're not necessarily cash flow solid. That's part of managing and paying attention to your money. A gentleman like him can really come in, build you up, and become something really more than you've ever seen. Not like going online, I need my credit repair so I can get this funding. No, he's talking about that long-term solution. He's talking about that long-term. It's called like this, fix it right the first time. It's like your car. You fix it right the first time, you're not going to have a problem. Now, if you put a Band-Aid on it, that car's going to keep coming back till one day it bites you. Right? Yeah. So he's got it pretty much down packed, and he's been doing this a long time. And now he's a solution. He's driven by solution.
Right. Yeah.
This company is driven by two things: data-driven, solution-driven. So that's important. Me as an entrepreneur, I'm going to look at that. I'm just not going to call somebody that fix my credit. Okay, fix your credit, XYZ dollars. Here you go. Okay, paid. And now what?
Right.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. Again, I'm going to pivot off you say, because most clients, that's why I give my consultations in the style that I give it in. Rich, I think we caught it one day, but one of the clients that having issues with their payment, Lee, you caught it. So we don't just say, hey, I got a repo, could you take it off? I got a bankrupt, could you take it off? Yeah, this is what we charge. No, we actually give you a free consultation, educate you on your credit profile, give you a full analysis, whether you decide to onboard with us or not. At least if you decide to shop around, you're armed with information that you previously didn't have. That's right. 2, we don't want you coming back to us for credit repair over and over and over. Get it right, get it done the first time, get it done right, get yourself access to capital, invest safely, and then again, you can perpetuate this here over and over and over again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And most people are not familiar with my story. So prior to prison, I had no knowledge of financial credit. You couldn't even get my attention and sit me down. During prison, I was able to not learn how to do credit, but actually repair my credit with a federal prison address, with a P.O. box, and walked out of prison the day I got released with a 755 credit score.
That's awesome.
If I can do that for myself.
From prison.
Like walking in the park for me out here.
And you can do it from an apartment.
To this level with the adversities I had to overcome, being raised by a single mom, being raised in poverty-stricken environments, going to federal prison, getting released back into that same environment, then a person who doesn't have a criminal record, never was raised in a poverty-stricken environment, raised with both parents, your success is like 10 times higher or your success rate is 10 times higher, and the expedite the process to becoming successful is a lot faster than me.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, like, and then become an entrepreneur. It's not something you want to do. It's something you have to be passionate about. You got to have skin, because you can get blown away real quick and give up.
Right.
So this is not for everybody. Entrepreneurship, it takes that one person in that family that's willing to take a risk and break those barriers.
Okay.
All it takes is one person to have that gut, that courage.
And let me just add this: entrepreneurship is a 1%er. That's what it is. It's 1%. Comes in, and that 1% is like Kevaris, 1%. Okay, 1% are people like that. That's the mindset of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur's got to be very careful with keyword that if you grasp anything here, cash flow and revenue, two different lines. One has nothing to do with the other. If you have cash flow problems, right, and you have the revenue, you got a problem. That's when you call a coach. Because you need to find out why. Keyword, why.
And I want to elaborate on this right quick, point this out. So we often hear the word OPM, the acronym, other people's money, right?
Right.
How often do we hear OPA, other people's audiences? So this is what I'm doing here.
Other people's what?
Audiences.
Oh.
So that's what I'm doing here on you guys' platforms, partnering with you guys. And that gives me leverage to resources to other entrepreneurs, other people that I didn't previously have access to. Just by being on this platform, I'm leveraging your audience and vice versa.
Oh, we're glad to have you here.
And you're educating our audience, because a lot of our audience doesn't have the problem with revenue as much as the problem with cash flow. And a lot of new entrepreneurs and a lot of current entrepreneurs don't understand that cash flow and revenue are two separate lines. And if you got a problem
learned that today.
And you have the revenue, you get revenue, and then the customers pay you late every 60 and 90 days, you're going to have a problem. So you're going to have your revenue, but it's not going to be
cash flow.
And that's the key thing. And in that process, that's when the business owners make mistakes. Because now you say, wait a minute, you're not clear. Wait a minute. And I got to do this. I know you pull it from here, there. They don't need to. They have you.
Right.
You don't even need to come up with a thought process to entrepreneurship. You keep doing what you're doing and focusing on that revenue, and don't worry about the cash flow, because we got that handled for you. That's
yeah. All right. Well, before we wrap up today, always have to mention this. I am not trying to sell something. Do you have to buy it? Yeah, you got to buy it. But every penny from Let Data Take the Wheel goes to our veterans through an organization called Stop Soldier Suicide Now. They're the only organization in the country that focus 100% on our soldiers coming back to this country and committing suicide. It's a terrible thing, and it's more common than you think. So every penny over cost of the book, it's on Amazon. Let Data Take the Wheel. It's Richie's 4th book. He's not making a penny on it. It's all going to that organization. And thanks.
Rich. I guess you guys can send me the link, Lee, so I can purchase the book. I'm definitely appreciate those who serve this country. It's sickening to see a lot of vets on the corners begging for money, homeless, things of that nature. Just sickening. But again, I'm very sympathetic with the war, especially war veterans, people that actually went through war, and risked their lives, lost a limb or two, mentally insane, and to come back home and got to deal with poverty. That's not the American dream. That's not what we picture. So, any veteran I can help, I know Richie got a soft spot for them as well. I'm on board with you guys, and let's change lives. Let's impact the lives that we can.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and as always,
How much
Richie,
does that book cost? Hope it don't break my bank.
it's like $7,000 or something. I don't know. What is it?
Yeah, all Richie products are very expensive, man. I just want to be able to
that book
push
is
this book.
actually, I made it it's a special edition hardcover. I think it's $10.99. A lot of people tell me why so cheap, because I figured, I'm not making any money on it, right? So I'm giving it to the vets. So make it cheap so I can really give them a lot of money. Listen, the biggest thing for me, why I'm an entrepreneur, it's really not because of anything, but to leave everything that I could have or I can have to the veterans, to the Institute. That's really the reason why I do stuff, because if you go to Richie Bello West and you listen to the radio station that I was in when I was in Washington, and I took a tour in Washington, and I saw 10 years ago when I started the Institute, what I saw with these poor veterans. When you see that, I said, this is something I got to do. The last book was donated to the veterans. I donated to an organization a lot of money, to Soldier Angels, which is a good friend of mine, Amy Palmer. I always give big donations. But this book is everything it makes, everything. I'm not interested. Everything for veterans.
Man,
That's my vision. And I've always given a lot of my book sales to donations, and this book is all about veterans, because really, the veterans mean a lot to me, because how they go in and the exit that they have, and then when they have an exit that they think, wait a minute, they told me this, they told me that. They don't get they get 50% or maybe 30 or 40% of what was told. And then they go to an SBA loan. It's even worse than that. Then they want to start their own business, be an entrepreneur, because the same thing that he learned in prison, they learn in the Army, right? They meet people. My father was this, that. Okay. They come in to be an entrepreneur, and then the SBA loan's supposed to give them what they need as a veteran grant, and they go in, you ask for $100,000 and they give you 50%. So it's like, they can't do anything right. The only thing they give them is the VA hospital, but
yeah,
the VA hospital covers everything but nothing. Oh, by the way, the VA hospital covers everything, but at the same time, they don't cover anything either. Okay. So it's like a whole thing, It's like once you're in a vet, you're in the system that, and this is why they go through some difficult times.
Well, hopefully the proceeds from this book will make a difference in the mental health of many of our soldiers. And Kevaris Edgecomb of Bolt Visionary Enterprises, thank you so much for being here today on the show. It was a pleasure having you.
Likewise.
And Richie, as always, thanks for having me by your side.
And call him up. He's a great person, great entrepreneur, great head to figure out a solution. Kevaris has an unbelievable head for solutions, and this is why he's here.
All right. And that's Kevaris. I got it right the whole show.
Yeah.
Richie owe me $20.
The reason he's key is because he's a key person in business.
You better not forget that now.
Now,
key.
And he's not selling.
Before we wrap it up, just send me the link for the book so I can support. And Lee just need the access to Campbell. So me and Kendra can get this.
Already confirmed. She's good to go.
All right, thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
All right, Rich, appreciate you. Enjoy your trip and safe travels back home.
And we'll see more of Kevaris. I'm setting up
Varis, not Varys.
Right. I'm also setting up a funding panel with a few funding people that I want him to meet in the few coming weeks. Okay, I want to set him up into a funding process that we have. We have 4 or 5 people in the panel.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you.